Welcome to Oman. Hello and welcome back to Oman for part 2 of our beautiful villa tour. Today we'll be looking at the more formal areas, including the Majlis, which is an area for gathering and socialising for the family, the tea room, where the lady of the house loves to take tea and entertain on a more intimate scale, and also the adjacent bathrooms. I can't wait to show you, they're the most special rooms. Welcome to the Majlis. A Majlis is a place of gathering, it's a sitting room, and it's at the heart of the culture of generous hosting that we have across this region. They love to come here, entertain outside members of the family, guests, business acquaintances. These rooms tend to be located at the front of the house, and it's an ingenious way of keeping these meetings and gatherings separate from family life that tends to happen towards the back of the house. Generally, it's a place where they're going to host very generously, so they might cater with huge banquet dinners, and they tend to use these central tables, which is why we've done so many coffee tables. These will all be laid out with platters of food, and everyone will sit on the floor and gather around the table to eat their dinner. A Majlis is an incredibly important room, so before we started to design the layout or anything to do with the interior, it was really important that we knew and understood the intricacies of how the family wanted to use this space. One of the things we knew was that it was very important with the furniture layout, with the sofas for example, that these should always run around the perimeter of the room. No one should ever have their back to anyone else when they're socialising in this space. As the Majlis is the central hub for hospitality in the home, it's really important that everything's very practical. So with the sofas, for example, these are performance fabric. They have a stain repellent. The beautiful rug that comes from France also has stain repellent. And we've also considered how they're going to use the space. So each sofa has its own little side table where you can put your coffee or any snacks that you might have. During the concept design phase of this room, we had so much fun seeking inspiration and researching the local landscape to take inspiration into the design. The rug mimics the pattern of the wadis, which are local valleys that fill with water in the monsoon season, and you can see all the rock formations are repeated in the pattern of the rug. Above me here we've got the beautiful Cox London chandelier. This is obviously the oak tree, which isn't a natural tree to Oman, but this family has close connections to the United Kingdom, so we also wanted to represent that. And then for the table below, we wanted to keep the styling quite simple. We've got this beautiful chiselled vase that we've dressed with some hazel twigs. It just emphasises the tree-like structure of the chandelier above. How beautiful are these side tables? The minute I saw them, I knew we had to have them for this room. They look so opulent and luxurious. But I also particularly love the bow front and the texture on the drawer fronts that mimics that same rock formation from the wadis that we saw earlier in the rugs. Then above those, I've dressed them with these really oversized Porta Romana lamps. To me, they look like a water droplet, which again references the monsoon season that we see at the wadis. And I love how the gold matches the gold table. Then we've combined that with a silk lampshade in this soft bluey grey, which matches in with all the cushions throughout the room. I spoke earlier about the importance of never having your back to anyone else when you're sat in a Majlis, and obviously right now I'm sat on a bench in the middle of the room with my back to everyone else. But the reason we've done that is because we wanted to zone this space. It's such a large room, so we wanted to make sure that if our client had slightly smaller gatherings, we could zone it into a slightly smaller seating area. As this project is a new build, we were very keen from the very beginning to add lots of architectural interest and design detail. When it came to this wall, it's a huge expansive window, so to break up all those curtains, we decided to integrate some screens that would add architectural interest and also emphasise the ceiling height. For the design itself, we took inspiration from the local architecture. Each of these is laser cut and then hand finished in Dubai. It took 2 men 3 days to make each screen. Another way that we've elevated the interior architecture in this Majlis is through the use of the panelling that we've designed. This one is a combination of linen wall covering that's had a stain resistant treatment, and then we've added some bronze trims that add some contrast. To break up all the panelling, we've introduced these timber columns that are finished in a painted finish. We went for a profile that had some curved and stepped detail so that when we put these wall lights, which are over 1 metre tall, the light at the back would emphasise that detail, and it really draws your eye up to the ceiling. Being in this room feels like a dream. It's actually quite emotional because we designed it 5 years ago. We've looked at the CGI for years and all the elevations, and now actually being in the space feels so surreal. My team and I all got a little bit tearful. There were some happy tears when we saw all the furniture come together and the vision was complete. This is the Majlis dedicated bathroom. In keeping with the whole idea of having the Majlis separate from the main family home, they have their own dedicated bathroom. So as you enter into the bathroom, you can see we have this communal hand wash station. This is because all the guests like to wash their hands before they join in the meals. And then on either side, we have 2 separate WCs, each of which have their own vanity unit as well. Well, I've got to start with the wallpaper. This is by Fremantle. It's an absolutely stunning wallpaper with a gold leaf background. And then we chose it because all of the fauna and the plants look like local plants to this area, so it feels very appropriate. On the vanity unit, we've book matched the marble to make it particularly dramatic. And then I really love the leg detail that we've done on the vanity unit. It looks very elegant and slim. For the taps throughout, we've done Jessie taps. It's probably my favourite brand. And then we've matched the colour of the taps onto the mirror. This is a bespoke design that we've designed ourselves and have fabricated in Dubai. In terms of styling, we've dressed it with a faux orchid. I love the texture on this metal pot. One of the mirrors from our Armac Martin collection, just so the guests can check their reflection if they need magnified mirrors. Beautiful Jo Malone candle, a marble tissue box. And then for the hand towels, we've gone for monogrammed hand towels. This is from our collection with Co's, and I'll put the link in the description box. It just adds that perfect finishing touch. This is the tea room. It's a multifunctional space that we've created for the lady of the house. It's a place where she can socialise with her friends, take tea, and we've also created a small desk area where she can do her personal admin. The inspiration from this room came from Downton Abbey. The clients loved the Downton Abbey programme, and so as part of our research when we were designing this space, the 2 lead designers, Brett and Anthony, went to Highclere Castle, where Downton Abbey is filmed, and looked closely at the architectural details and some of the furniture layouts so that we could bring that inspiration across to this room in Oman. One of the main sources of inspiration that we've taken from Highclere Castle is this joinery piece behind me. Obviously, back in the day, they didn't have fixed joinery, and so we've tried to create the illusion that this is a freestanding piece. And how we've done that is we've stepped the front so that it doesn't feel too blocky. We've used lots of different materials, so we've got the faux leather on the drawer fronts, we have the marble tops, and then we've used this burr walnut. It's an absolutely beautiful veneer, and it's got a real heritage feel, and it's very similar to a lot of the pieces that we saw from our research at the castle. Then when it comes to the lighting, we've done a mixture of different lighting. So at the top, we've got picture lights, which again give a much more heritage feel, but then we've combined that with LED strip lighting at the bottom of each shelf and also at the back of each shelf, and that's really to illuminate all the clients' beautiful pieces and the amazing silk wallpaper at the back. Flanking the shelving central section, we have these 2 glazed doors on the outer sections. This is called astral glazing, and it's quite a commonly seen feature in antique, so we really wanted to bring that heritage feel through this. One of the things we love to do on all our projects, where possible, is to use some of the client's existing pieces. It establishes a connection with their new interior right from the very start. So we're able to have the opportunity on one of our visits to Oman to look at the client's existing antique pieces, their silverware, And we took inspiration from these rugs. These rugs we felt were just perfect for the space. We loved all the colour schemes in them. They weren't the perfect size, so what we did to overcome that issue was, you can see we've actually placed two side by side, and together they've created the perfect size rug for this room. This is the small sitting area that we've created for the lady of the house. She's got a very comfortable sofa, and you can see we've taken that inspiration of the colour scheme from the rug onto this sofa. So we've got the soft greens, we've got the beautiful burgundy and the creams all coming through, and I absolutely love this colour scheme. It feels very classical but contemporary, perfectly appropriate for this room. Whilst this sofa looks incredibly luxurious, and indeed it is, this velvet is another performance fabric, so it's really good for an area where the clients are going to be taking tea, having cakes. They don't need to worry about if anything gets dropped on it. But one of my favourite features about this sofa is the beautiful piping detail that we've done. It just glistens and catches the light and looks so luxurious. Above the sofa we decided to do a mirror, and we wanted to go for something that looked like an antique. This is inspired by Rococo mirrors, and it's got a painted finish. And we love the idea of having a mirror because it reflects the beautiful joinery on the other side of the room. We've gone for an antique mirror that has this beautiful patina. You can see it's got little splashes of markings. Again, it just gives that feeling of being a period antique. For the walls, we've gone for a combination of panelling. You can see we've done this very simple moulding profile that's plant-on moulding, and then we've gone for a soft off-white paint. We wanted the room to feel quite light and bright, but then we wanted to bring the ceiling height down, which is quite unusual, but the ceiling height is exceptionally tall. So we've done a panel of silk wallpaper at the top, and that also makes the room feel a little bit cozier. We've gone for a trio of cluster tables, and I love the idea of having a cluster because if the client's entertaining and having an afternoon tea, she can pull each of the tables out to create more surface area, and then all of these will be laid with cakes and coffee and tea. But then when it's not in use, we can condense them all, tuck them under slightly, and it ensures there's enough circulation space. The finish on these tables is a beautiful liquid metal. You can see it's got a lovely pattern on it, and it's very reminiscent of the burr walnut veneer that we used on the joinery, so we loved how that had a thread that echoed across the room. And then the frame is in an antique brass, which adds another layer of luxury and a different material. We were very fortunate that during our installation the past week, the client brought across some boxes of their own personal possessions, like these incredible silver coffee jars, and so we were able to style the rooms with their existing items, and I absolutely love how it gives that nod to how the room will be used. Adjacent to the sofa we have these two antique armchairs. They're actually reproduction, and we sourced them in Paris, and I've had them upholstered in my all-time favourite fabric. This is a fabric by De La Cogne. It's an embossed linen, and I felt it added just the perfect amount of pattern. We didn't want anything too much to compete with the rug, but it just adds another layer of detail. Whenever you're designing a room, it's really important that you analyse the floor plan and look at where you're plotting the furniture to make sure there's sufficient circulation and that the practical functionality of the room really works. So between these two armchairs, we've put a very small side table, and that's done so that the client and her friends don't have to lean forward for their coffee. They can just comfortably reach here, and that's something you'll see that we've done throughout this house in all the rooms. Opposite the window we have these two prints before you go through to the bathroom. We've chosen two botanical prints because it references the rug, it references the curtain trim, but it also echoes back to the Downton Abbey Highclere Castle inspiration. They have beautiful secret gardens, and we wanted to get some of the local botanical fauna and bring that to this room. Tucked away in a little corner we have its own private bathroom, which is small but perfectly formed. You can see we've taken the reading design on the door across onto the vanity unit. We designed these pieces ourselves, and they've been designed to be appearing like a freestanding piece. They've got legs that run down the front of the vanity unit. And then I've just accessorised that with a Jo Malone candle and a tissue box from our Addison Ross collection. As I mentioned earlier, this room is multifunctional, so we've also created a desk area. I love a freestanding desk, and we've positioned this on the diagonal, again, just to mix up the floor plan and make it more interesting. We've designed it with all these small separate drawer sections so that she can put all her letters away, and then each drawer front is hand stitched with a leather front. For the chair itself, we've been inspired by some antiques, and we've done a contemporary take on that. We've got the curves coming through on the arms, and then we've done a little upholstered section so it feels very comfortable to lean on. And this is just the perfect spot for writing your letters and checking up on all your personal admin. That's all for part 2. I've thoroughly enjoyed showing you around these truly palatial rooms. If you haven't hit subscribe, make sure you do, because you do not want to miss our next video. I'll be showing you around the more informal rooms at this villa, including the kitchen and the family living room. Both are beautiful rooms overlooking the beach. You don't want to miss it. In the meantime, if you'd like more regular updates, you can also follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Sophie Paterson Interiors. Take care, and I'll see you very soon.